Hello, my name is Ryan Bain from Webtechglobal and I am the developer of CSV to Post for WordPress. I'm currently working on version 8.0.0. I need to make some videos that give a development insight, and this is the first video of its kind. They won't be highly professional videos. I'll be making some of them at home with the kids running about, and the goal is not to create tutorials. It's some information on the fly while I'm working. You might even see me coding sometimes, and hopefully some developers who are customizing the plugin find these useful. But a lot of the information I provide will be for my use as an answer to anybody asking, why has that form been removed, or why does the plugin work in this way when previous versions didn't, and so on. So that's what these videos are about, really a mix of things. Right, so this first video is about the project screen, and specifically the new project form. I'm just going to fire on and use that. Now you will see various dumps of information on the screen, so please remember I am working on a plugin. I'm still creating it, and those dumps are for my benefit as a developer. So I'm submitting this form, and there you go, there's a dump of information there. And what I've done is submitted 3 CSV files, and the first thing that I've totally forgot to point out is that the plugin, let me just go back down, there you go, the plugin doesn't have a file uploader anymore. I've decided that we should be using another plugin that focuses on the management of files in general, or use WordPress itself. And that's simply because I realised that a lot of people will be uploading sensitive information in CSV files, and they may be forgetting to delete that information after the import. So they may go into that sort of mode of thinking, well, I've imported my data to the database, it's in there and it's safe, and totally forgetting about the fact that the CSV file is sitting there. I have a lot to do. I can't create a feature that warns the user and so on. I can't do that all the time and mollycoddle the sort of I don't know what the phrase is, but you get my point. I need to focus on making the import work and the post creation side of it work, rather than letting myself sort of on a tangent with every other little thing that comes up. And one of those things is the import, the upload of the file itself. I also want another approach to creating a sort of data source system, and I want the user to be in touch with the paths to files and so on, rather than handle that automatically also. Right, so let me just go back up, because I've done that, I've submitted that, and what we have here is 2 different types of messages. Possible discrepancy is one of them, and the other one is file not ready. A possible discrepancy only happens in a multi-file project. You won't see this if you submit a single file. It's basically the plugin telling us that it's counted the rows in the files and they don't match. So basically it means that there are rows in the main file, for example, that don't have matching rows or connected rows completing the sort of record in the other files. The plugin used to avoid using such data and would skip those rows, but it no longer does that. Now it will create blank values. It will replace tokens with blank values. I have decided that at the risk of users thinking that the plugin is at fault, so where a user's data is crap, they may blame the plugin. Alright, that does happen. It has happened. I've given refunds for such things, even when I've had a look at the data myself and I've proved that the data isn't great, because that does happen. I've still had to give refunds. So I'm doing that in this plugin at the risk of losing money, and the reason is for the rest, for everybody else, for the flexibility. You can apply what we have here as strict multi-file mode, or you can continue with the option where you can have files that aren't complete. So you could have a file with a lot of data, and you can have a couple of smaller files with less data, and that whole sort of flexibility could take us in other directions, and that's why I do it, because the plugin grows. Now the other thing is down here. let's do a little red box using Camtasia from TechSmith. Alright, file not ready. This is one of the biggest changes that will happen in the plugin. Since 2009, I had a system where any CSV file header could be used. My plugin was the first of its kind to accept any headers. Previous plugins would require the CSV file to have specific named titles on the columns, such as title itself. One might be named column, price, old price, image, URL, link, or so on. All the sort of generic names. But CSV to post did not require that, and for good reason. It was for ease. It was for the fact that there's endless files out there, and there were clients. I did have clients who wanted to deliver CSV files from various sources to the plugin, and the plugin would automatically use the files, and it would have to accept the headers as they were. But I'll try not to go into the technical side of it, because I can go on and on and on a bit, as any good geek does, right? So the technical side of it, in a short way, is basically that I had to do the work to make the plugin smart to handle that. So that in itself was a downside. It also wasn't efficient. So the new approach that I'm taking is more efficient, and that applies to everyone. Whereas the need to use any header didn't apply to everyone. Some people are happy and can prepare the header to suit the plugin, and that's what I'm doing. I'm basically asking users to now make the effort to prepare the CSV file for the plugin, rather than me bending over backwards to make the plugin suit every client. And I've had some big clients. The most recent is Ryanair Limited, and it's very easy to get carried away with trying to keep them happy for the sake of money and reputation. But what it really needs is either multiple different importers or say no. Alright, I don't mean that in a bad way. I've been bending over backwards since 2009. I've enjoyed it. It's the challenge has really pushed me. Trying to make a plugin flexible and sort of work for so many different scenarios has really pushed my learning and education. So that's the good side of it. But we're now at a point where I've decided, no, we need to make things a little clear cut. The plugin's code itself is going to be easier to understand, meaning it will be easier to customize. It will be easier to hire a developer and work on the plugin, because I tell you what, previously I would hire someone who said they were great at WordPress, and they would look at my plugin and there was just functions that they didn't understand, because I had my own approach. So what I've decided is CSV to post should be a lot more common. Alright, there is a plugin, Easy CSV Importer, my other plugin, that will probably continue to work with any headers. I can't guarantee that though, because as I said, efficiency does come from not having to juggle the original headers with new headers, as we can see down here. I've done quite a bit of talking. So down here we have the original headers, and then in brackets we have SQL ready headers, and we need SQL ready headers, and that is what I want users to do. Make their titles or column titles all lowercase, no spaces and no special characters, and that's that. If you happen to be a user from a long time back, the answer to any question about making the plugin work with any header is no, really. The work that's involved and the lack of efficiency is really not worth it. However, I am willing to make another plugin by copying this plugin and then converting it to do that if needed, but obviously it will cost. Right, now this is quite a long video. Future videos will be shorter in most cases, just quick bits of information and examples and so on. So please continue to watch, and thank you for watching my first video on 8.0.0.